Wow! Cool.
What's going on, everybody? It's Brett back at you again for our first Detroit Lions video. I've had some time to think about yesterday's game, and really, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm proud of the Lions. I am. If you would look at how we played against Green Bay early in the season versus how we played yesterday, I'm actually really proud of the way that they played, and I'm very proud to call myself a Lions fan at that point because they went out there and they fought hard underneath an interim coach, and that to me is really showing what they do have. Obviously, people have been talking about there being that talent difference between the Packers and the Lions, and while in some cases that may be true, I honestly think that the Lions could beat the Packers, and they could have beat them yesterday, especially if everybody was healthy. Now, this is obviously my first Detroit Lions video. Most of them have been either Airshow or beer videos before this, but obviously this is one of the things that we cover. I was actually going to do a blog post on this, kind of a recap, just like I did with some of the other games early in the season, but I decided to make it into a video. I just wanted to express my feelings verbally here because there are some things we're going to discuss today that involve the future, and particularly the future of, number 9, Matthew Stafford, see how things go there. But before we dive in, just remember www.universaladventures.com. Make sure you subscribe there. Subscribe here on YouTube. Ring the bell to get the notifications. And then, of course, Facebag. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all below too. And we'll eventually next season we'll start live tweeting things like that as we continue to build this brand up. But yeah, so the Lions fell yesterday by one touchdown to the Green Bay Packers. Just one touchdown. Could have been worse. I guess we were down by 10 at one point. There's not much to say on it. I mean, there's a lot to say. I just don't want to take up all the film saying it. The Lions went out there and they showed their worth. They did start mounting a comeback. They started playing well. They did play better in the second half, which is kind of interesting because if you really think about it, the Lions this year have been really a first half team. They've come out with these massive leads and then blew them. But then against the Bears, we came back from being behind and really we kept the game competitive, and at halftime we were tied. I liked seeing that in the Lions. But before we really break it down by size of the ball, I just want to talk about number 9, Matthew Stafford. There hasn't really been any updates that have come out yet about his rib injury yesterday. Obviously, we saw he was in a lot of pain right before that final drive. It was the second to last drive. Kerryon Johnson ended up punching it in after that for a touchdown. But he did look like he was in a lot of pain. And I got to say, he's one of the toughest quarterbacks in NFL history. I don't care what anybody says. He is a tough guy. All those straight starts, he usually can play through anything. So if he's actually in visible pain, that's something important to know. And we still got 3 games left. Realistically, the playoffs are out of the picture, but it's still possible at the same time. We'll get into that a little later. But it looks like we might have to do it without Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford might be out for these final 3 games, especially if there are any broken ribs. I mean, just look at how long Drew Brees has been out, for example, even though he'll return. I got my computer here with just just keeping me on track because I have my different subjects broken out. So I got to make sure that stays on. So a lot of people are saying that could be the last time we saw Matthew Stafford in the Lions uniform. And I get where that talk is coming from. I don't believe that's personally true. I don't believe that's going to be a good decision right now for a new GM coming in, but there are several different things we can go for that. Like I said, Matt Stafford is a tough quarterback. He still is producing really well. I mean, beginning of last year, he was putting up MVP stats, and even this year thus far, especially with Bevel letting him let loose against the Bears, and even yesterday's game, Stafford's been playing really, really well. He has. And I'll even point how tough he is. You saw Rodgers scramble numerous times for a first down yesterday, and he slid right after he got past there once he knew people were coming. Stafford will fight until he gets that first down. He will not slide until he gets that first down. He started sliding right after yesterday. And he made it. He got it there. Of course, he got injured in the process, but my point is he'll fight for it. It didn't matter if he was 2 yards back. He still would have stayed up and not slid 2 yards short. He would have fought 2 more yards for that first down. Now, I'm just throwing this out here. And if this would have been reversed, I think there would have been flags flying all over the field. But those hits against Matthew Stafford yesterday, he was already in the slide, and then he got completely creamed by the defense. I would like to say those were illegal hits, honestly. They should not have been done, especially since he was already sliding and the hit came toward his head. Now, what I mean by that is, had we done that to Aaron Rodgers at any point during the game, flags would have been flying all over the field, and I think it was unsafe the way that the play did play out. I'm not blaming the defenders on that one, for the record. I don't think they obviously personally went out there intent on injuring Matt Stafford. It's just kind of the way the play went, especially where he slid at. But I did feel like if it would have been the other way around, there would have been some flags. Just an honest opinion there. But I don't think it's wise for the organization to think about trading Matthew Stafford at this point, especially with there not really being another rookie quarterback trained. We got Chase Daniel, don't get me wrong. He's a really great backup quarterback, and he can do things. But what I mean is, another franchise rookie quarterback. We don't have one right now, and that's what the team needs, and they should have that underneath some mentorship, and Matt Stafford would be that mentorship. Unless you want to go into a strict rebuilding right away, there's just no need to get rid of him or trade him, especially since you're going to take that dead cap hit. I mean, that's just going to be a lot. That's going to be a lot to stomach, especially for 2021. 2022 might be a little more doable, but for next season, it wouldn't even be worth it. Not to mention, he can still go out there and compete. We'll lose some of the talent during the offseason, obviously, and that's going to happen during a rebuild too. But we're probably still going to, retain Swift and Hawkinson and hopefully Galladay and players like that. I know Galladay hasn't really been out there much. Marvin Jones Jr. has been doing great. Obviously, Quintez Cephas is a rookie too. So we're going to retain a lot of them. So I really hope that they make the smart decision, the new GM and the new coach, to go, yeah, we're going to keep Matthew Stafford for at least a few seasons, and then we will groom another quarterback underneath them. That's exactly what happened with, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, for example. And yeah, people can say, well, Matt Stafford's had his chance. 11 years and he hasn't really done anything, blah, 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 blah. Listen, if you're a true Lions fan, you should not be saying that. You should really see what this guy did bring to the Lions. Yes, we never won a playoff game since 1992, but we've had lots of playoff appearances underneath Matthew Stafford. We've had winning seasons underneath Matthew Stafford. When Matt Patricia came in, what happened? He tried to rebuild a team that didn't need rebuilding. We had a winning record the year before. With who was our quarterback? You said it, Matthew Stafford. Yeah, and you can throw out, we played Green Bay yesterday. We lost to Green Bay. Yeah, we did. And you can think Green Bay has a great program. I'm not dissing Green Bay's program, right? But when did Brett Favre start playing for Green Bay? When did he leave Green Bay? When did Aaron Rodgers start? We've had 25 plus years, almost 30 years, of two back-to-back MVP quarterbacks in Green Bay. They have 2 Super Bowls to show for it overall, 1 from each quarterback. I'm not saying Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers aren't great quarterbacks. They're good quarterbacks. They are. But my point is the quarterback is not. They're the people who take all the blame. They're not the one person, though, that plays. They don't play both sides of the ball. You need talent to get it out there. You need proper play calling to get it out there. Matt Stafford had it with Jim Caldwell, and now he has it with Darrell Bevell. They honestly have the right play calls to maximize our offense. No joke about it. And the proof is there when you look at the stats, especially with Darrell Bevell having Matthew Stafford groomed last season, like I said, or just the plays that we've had this far this year. And there are weapons. That's why I don't want to say, people say Green Bay's the more talented team. All right, I can see where they're coming from. But you know what? Detroit Lions have talent too. It's the way they have to utilize that talent. And honestly, I would feel comfortable having Matthew Stafford lead us through another rebuild, or at least lead us at the quarterback position through another rebuild. Now, the only way that I would say that that's not is we have to question ourselves, is it fair for Matthew Stafford, the guy who did so much for the state of Michigan, so much for the city of Detroit, so much for the Detroit Lions organization, but is it fair to him to go through another rebuild? He's done this numerous times before. How many coaches has he been through? How many GMs has he been through? And at his age, yes, it's true. You still got Drew Brees, Tom Brady out there. They're playing up a storm. And they've had injuries, but they're still playing up a storm. But Matt Stafford has to look at it and go, look, am I going to win a ring here in Detroit, or am I going to go somewhere else and win that ring? And I think it's fair to him to be able to go compete somewhere else, too. But I do believe that Detroit can do it. And Sheila Ford Hamp has proved that over and over again, that that's her main goal in Detroit. Bring wins to Detroit. And I think Matthew Stafford, a tough athlete, a really good quarterback, is the one who is going to do it. So I do not think it's a wise decision to trade him away right now, and I still believe he will be a Lion come next year. Anyway, now we're going to back up our bus a little bit and go back to yesterday's game. By the way, Dose of Dion, another Detroit Lions YouTuber, you're going to want to go check out his videos too, because I reiterated a lot of stuff that he said anyway, but he also believes that Matthew Stafford is going to be back next year, and he, just as well as I do, really hope that he is. Anyway, now we're going to go into the offensive side of the ball yesterday. Lions did play great. I mean, we utilized a lot of receivers out there. Sanu, you got a good veteran out there. Marvin Jones Jr., Quintez Cephas. That little flip to Hawkinson for that touchdown was an interesting play call, but hey, whatever, it worked, right? Offensively, we looked good. Where we did not look good was with the sacks. There needs to be better protection. Without a doubt. That is going to be one of the biggest things that we need if we want to win this year. Now, of course, we're already down in the draft pick, and everybody's always like, oh, just throw it for the draft. I've never been one to throw it for the draft. Go out there and show what you are worthy of. Darrell Bevel could be competing for a head coaching job still, even with the Lions organization. And all these other players are competing for their job still. Don't just go out and lose games just for a draft pick. I've never been one to say to do that. And it's crazy that so many fans want that to happen. No, just no, okay? So offensively, we had some great plays. We had downfield shots. We had some great runs. And actually, if I don't have a special teams on my outline here, but that run by Agnew at the end there, if only he could have kept going. If he would have just pulled one of those stops, like one of those Top Guns, I'll hit the brakes, fly right by, stop while their dude runs by him, and then he cuts it back up the field. That would have been awesome. But no, he did great on that return. And it put us right in field goal range, obviously. Our offense did look pretty good yesterday. And considering that we didn't have Galladay, if we had Galladay in yesterday, I'm convinced we could have won the game. I really am convinced. And when I get on the defensive side, when we throw in some other injuries out there, I'll also say where I'm really convinced that we could have won the game. One thing I do want to talk about where I do think we got screwed, besides that hit to Matt Stafford where I think there should have been flags, was that Marvin Jones Jr. catch. I do believe it was a catch. Marvin Jones Jr. himself believes it was a catch. He couldn't go into it more because, he could be fined for saying things. I can't, so I'll say it. I do believe it's a catch. Apparently, he was mic'd up during the game, and a lot of the other refs thought it was going to be overturned. It was going to be ruled a catch, and it wasn't. You even saw, now I'm blanking on his name. How do I do this? I always have it all the time. Not Mike Pereira, but the, you know what, now I gotta look this up because it's bothering me. How do I do this? Talk about him all the time. Like, literally. Dean Blandino. I forget that, right? What the heck? He even thought it was a catch. And if you look at still photos, everybody believed it was a catch. It was ruled not a catch. Yeah, we still ended up scoring the touchdown, don't get me wrong. But it took us 2 minutes to get down and score that touchdown. That 2 minutes could have meant a difference in the game. Now, everybody can have their conspiracy theories all they want, blah, 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 blah. Yes, sometimes we do get crappy calls from the refs. That does not mean Detroit versus everybody, Detroit versus the refs, all right? There are situations in games where it shouldn't come down to just these calls, but we have seen there are cases where it happened, and it did happen in the Green Bay game last year too with Trey Flowers' hands to the face. All that BS. But, there were a lot of calls that they threw flags for Green Bay yesterday too. So it wasn't a one-sided game at all. It just happened to not go in our favor that way. But I do still believe it was a catch. But it is what it is, right? Those are the rules of the game. There's a human element to the game. Human factor all the time. So mistakes happen. Even if catch, not catch, they saw something that said it wasn't a catch. It is what it is, okay? Plain and simple. They did, I believe, call that onside kick right. That was out of bounds, but it was so close. We could have really had that. So close. It was just a slightly different line because we were there to recover it, and it was a good play. It was just the angle that it was kicked at. But, I'm glad to see that Darrell Bevel decided, hey, we're going to do that. I don't know what Matt Patricia would have done. I don't know if he would have attempted an onside or if he would have known we had enough time to kick it downfield, but I'm glad that play call was made. So, Yeah, our offense did look impressive to me, and I'm very pleased with them. I just wish Swift would have gotten the ball a little bit more, and we would have ran a little bit more because I think we could have done some more damage on the ground, especially since you look at any team that won this year against Green Bay, they had at least one player with over 100 yards rushing. I believe that was the stat. Better not have been over collectively 100 yards of rushing, because that would just, obviously that should happen every game. But I think one player in each, I'll have to double check, but I'm sure each win against Green Bay had at least one player with over 100 yards rushing. So I wish they would have done that more. Anyway, now we're going to switch on over to the defense. And with the defense, we needed to get more pressure in there. I don't know why we didn't blitz more, and I know we were afraid of getting beat, but later in the game, what would have mattered if we got beat? We should have been back there pounding Rodgers into the dirt, avoiding flags in the process, but pounding him into the dirt and making him a little more antsy back there. Instead, he had all the time in the world to throw. Now, the big thing that sucks about this is a lot of our linebackers and our corners are out right now due to injuries. And then, of course, we have an end out with an injury. Trey Flowers is still out. And then Everson Griffin, who we got in the trade block to help us push into the playoffs, or before the trade deadline to help push us in the playoffs, was on the COVID reserve list for this game. So we didn't have him in there. And, he's a former Minnesota Viking, and I think he really wanted to pound Rodgers good. And unfortunately, he wasn't in there. And I think if we had Galladay on offense and at least Everson Griffin on defense, we could have been looking at a different ballgame. I think we would have been looking at a lot more pass pressure. But we were afraid of getting beat. And I understand that wholeheartedly. Obviously, Jeff Okudah is out for the rest of the season, too. Still a rookie. A lot of people are saying he was a bad draft pick. I'm not going to agree with that right now. It was his rookie year. He's still trying to adjust. I think next year he's going to be a lot better, and that's something I'm looking forward to as well, to see how our defense pans out next year. So, defensively, we needed to provide more pressure, and we needed to stop getting beat on the passes, and especially the outside runs. If we contained in the middle, we can stop runs. We've seen that. It's just the outside that we have to worry about, and we need to get better at our pass rush, just getting back there and getting to the quarterback. And I really hope that we start getting healthy again and we can do that in these final 3 games. So why? Why does it matter, you might say? Playoffs are out of reach. Yeah, had we won out after beating the Bears, we would have controlled our own destiny, and we definitely would have gotten that last wild card spot for the playoffs. Without a doubt. With our record. With 9 wins. The most we can do now is 500. We can go 8-8. That's it. And are the playoffs still possible? Believe it or not, yes. But we absolutely cannot lose any more games now. And instead of controlling our own destiny, we have to rely on other teams to lose. Vikings need to lose. Bears need to lose. Cardinals need to lose. Now what's crazy is obviously the Vikings and the Bears play each other still. So whoever has the worst record come that game, actually I think it's next week, is who you want to lose. So you might actually want the Vikings to win right now against the Bears, because we play the Vikings again. And then if we beat the Vikings last game of the season, could be the one that determines the playoffs if we're able to beat the big teams like the Tennessee Titans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's possible, not likely, no. But a few more games could also have Darrell Bevell get his coaching job. I think he would deserve it if he at least won 3 of the 5 games. I mean, don't you? Especially against difficult teams. And how he coached against Green Bay, like I said, I'm proud of the Lions. So I think it's entirely possible that he would get that job if we were able to swing that. And I just hope that he does, because the team does have energy underneath him. They like him, and he knows that there's work to be done, but he also wants the players to have fun in the process. And that's very important. That's very important. So, Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, we hold the tiebreaker with them because we beat them early on in the season, so we would get the seed over them if their record was near ours. And then obviously you would want the Bears and the Vikings be below us, because then the NFC record comes into play, and we just lost to Green Bay. So that would make it a little difficult. I don't really know the justifications of it, but you definitely want the Vikings to beat the Bears, I think, this time around. I'll double check it. I'll actually put it up on my blog on who to root for to make sure the Lions can make the playoffs or have a chance at the playoffs. But like I said, then we need to win out. Things are getting progressively more difficult, but the thing that gives me hope Well, we might not be having Stafford, like I said. He might be out for the rest of the season. So Chase Daniel's going to have to come in and really, really take care of things. So, yeah, Chase Daniel will be fine, I think. I think he can do it, but we're going to need Galladay back. And we are going to make sure that we have our offensive line can block and give protection. And we need to make sure that defensively we are healthy. We need Everson Griffin back. Hopefully Trey Flowers will come off of injured reserve soon. Hopefully we can get some of our deep guys back. And we can start being better at pass defense and stopping the run on the outside even. We need to be better at these things. And I think we could have a run at the playoffs. Now, how things could have changed to where we could have beat Green Bay, honestly, if that Marvin Jones catch would have been called, we would have saved some clock, and that could have made all the difference in the world. Could have led to a Lions win later on down the road, or at least OT. And then some of those injuries, had we had the players in, I think could have made the difference. Galladay could have helped make a difference. And then, obviously, if Swift wouldn't have been out for so long, I think he could have made a difference. And then Everson Griffin. Like I said, I think Everson Griffin was really looking forward to this game, and it's unfortunate that he ended up on the COVID reserve list. But those are how things could have changed. And a lot of people were expecting a blowout, like how Green Bay blew us out in week 2. But with Darrell Bevel's game plan, I think our offense really did thrive enough to stay competitive. And it was just a few big defensive plays that made the difference. Well, really just one. And it was that one where Green Bay really quickly, Devontae Adams, boom, right to the end zone. Touchdown. Right after we scored our first touchdown. They did that. That was the only big play, I think, that the Packers really had in the game. And had we been able to stop that, it could have made all the difference. But the fact that it was mostly small plays proves that our defense can stop the big ones. But at the same time, that allowed Green Bay to run out the clock. So our defense needed to get a lot better at that. And I know it's hard with so many injuries, but I do have faith in Corey Undlin, and I do think the Lions can at least pull off 1, maybe 2 more wins. Yeah, that wouldn't get us to playoffs, but hey, it would still make us look good, right? And even if we won out, possible playoff spot, it'd be fine. I'd take it. Might lose the first round again. Oh well. It's worth a shot. So in closing, like I said, I am proud of the Detroit Lions and the way they played yesterday against Green Bay. I am proud of the players that were out there, especially since we had a lot of second stringers out there or rookies out there that proved their worth. We do have a talented team. I don't care what anybody says. They need to be utilized correctly, and I think Darrell Bevel is starting to figure that out. I think he's starting to see where we can utilize it. He's throwing those trick plays in, and I think Corey Undlin is starting to figure out on the defensive side of things. I've always liked him as a defensive coordinator, to be honest with you. I really, really have. And now with Matt Patricia being gone, he's becoming a lot more creative in his depth charts, in the way he draws up defensive plays as well. So my hope is moving forward that the Detroit Lions can be competitive in these last 3 games. Even if they don't win them, just be competitive like they were yesterday and give us the chance at winning them. I hope Darrell Bevel gets his chance to interview for the head coaching job, and hopefully he gets it if things continue this way, because I think if he had the reins, I think he would do great. And I hope no matter what, they decide that Matthew Stafford needs to stay in Detroit at least for 1 or 2 more seasons. And then he can go chase a ring somewhere else if it just doesn't work out and we have our rookie quarterback that we could draft this year. And I know the quarterbacks will go rather early in the draft, but, Green Bay got Jordan Love last year to groom him too, and he came rather late in the draft because look how Green Bay made the playoffs last year. They won the NFC again. So Lions really aren't that bad. They can do it. I really think they can. So that's where I sit. I'm proud of them. Congratulations to Green Bay on winning the NFC North. We're going to hopefully still keep competitive for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot in the North, and we'll see how that goes. But until next time, one pride, go Lions. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys around, all right? Take it easy.